Sometimes I kind of feel like my rabbit belongs in a vicious animals exhibit. She'd fit right in. If you don't believe me when I say that, you make your decision. By the end of this video, trust me, you guys will feel very differently about rabbits. I don't know if my family are just like bad parents, and that's why she's resorted to bullying other rabbits. Or maybe we just didn't give her enough carrots. I don't really know. I'm pretty sure she just doesn't like any of the rabbits, and so tries to kill them. Anyway, on with the stories. One day my mum looked outside, and she was like, "Hey, let's buy a rabbit." And then unknowingly caused a chain of events, causing almost 2 rabbits to die. Anyway, so she told us she wanted to buy a rabbit. Word from the wise, don't get a rabbit. So one day we were at Pets at Home to do a checkup for one of our dogs called Blossom. And we saw this bunny, and we were like, "Oh, would you cute little bunny." By the way, I wasn't actually there at the dog checkup. This is just what I heard from my mum and sister, who were there. So they sent me a picture of an adorable rabbit. Here's the picture they sent me. Actually, I couldn't find the exact picture that they sent me, but here's one of him anyway. So they sent me this picture and told one of the staff members to put off anybody who wanted to buy him. We actually changed his name after we got him. But his name before we changed it, before I say, make a comment about what you think his name is. And so the reveal, his name was originally Spud, as in the potato. At the time, I actually didn't know what a spud was, and I couldn't understand why everybody thought his name was so funny. Until so long after we got him, and I was like, oh, so our pet's a potato. Actually, he kind of looks like a potato in this picture. A fluffy potato. So my mum and sister left Spud and went back home, because they didn't want to decide on buying a rabbit right there and then. And by the next day, I was a walking encyclopedia on rabbits. Me being so hyped up to see the potato, I started gathering knowledge on how to keep a rabbit. And so the day after we first located the potato, I went to see him. And he was amazing. He was the chillest, nicest, and just amazingest rabbit ever. And so we bought the bunny. The problem was though, we actually came on our bikes. And after buying everything needed for the rabbit, between us we'd have to carry a lot of things, including a massive cage. And my dad, who was in the car, was of course 50 miles away. And I'm not kidding there, he was actually 50 miles away. Not to mention the fact that it was winter time, and where I live, it's freezing! As we later discovered, there was a storm that night, meaning that the heavens opened. Perfect. So now we have a rabbit, but no way to get it home. And so my dad, being the true hero he is, got forced into picking him up. I'm pretty sure he was fine with this though. And so through the rain, through the lightning, through the hailstones, we cycled back on our bikes and almost froze to death. And so we got my dad to pick us up. And after all of that, we finally got home. Spud came in this box, and the Pets at Home people told us to just leave him to check out his surroundings and stuff like that, and then we could like give him hugs and stuff the next day. But he was so chill, we just gave him hugs anyway. And Spud, he's such a cute rabbit, he's so nice. After a few weeks of having Spud, we decided to change his name to, drumroll please, Chewy! Because he chewed all of our expensive cables, including one of the cables to the family PC, and a bunch of iPhone chargers. And all of the money we spent repairing all of these things, I'm pretty sure we could have bought about 5 more Chewies. But anyway, after a couple of months had passed, my mum, again, she looked at Chewy and she had an idea, which, in this case, was a terrible one. She was like, "Aw, Chewy's so lonely, we need to get him a friend." What friends they turned out to be. They were not very happy with each other. The second rabbit we bought, we called Cookie. This time we were really far away from our house, but we saw this beautiful little rabbit. And so we bought her. They weren't very nice to each other. Well, actually, I'm lying there. It was actually Cookie who wasn't very nice to Chewy. And so she has earned the title of the video, My Savage Rabbit. After a few weeks of having these 2 rabbits, we actually let them out together in the same room. And they turned out to be okay. Until Chewy went into the litter box. And how he managed to offend Cookie so much still surprises me, seeing as she literally jumped onto him. Crazy rabbit. She jumped like 4 foot onto him. He just kind of scrabbled in the litter box for a while, and then they both kind of run away from each other. I knew they were giving each other evil stares though. Another time we got my dad to hold Cookie and my mum to hold Chewy. And then Cookie bit Chewy on the nose. Poor Chewy. You get why I call her savage? Anyway, a few weeks after we got Cookie, Chewy, he got killed by a fox. They're really common where I live, but we never actually thought a fox would even come into our back garden. Never mind go for the rabbit. So yeah, Chewy died. We built him a little grave and it was really sad. A few months after that, my mum was looking at Cookie. And I bet you never thought we could be stupid enough to get another rabbit. But you know, we bought another rabbit. This one we called Pudding. Kind of funny how all of our rabbits have food-related names. Anyway, Cookie treated the arrival of a new rabbit not very well. I can't actually remember what Pudding was called before we got her, but I remember it being a boy's name. We were also told that this rabbit was a boy, but actually, after about 2 weeks of having her, my mum was giving her a stroke, and she noticed there were these bumps on her stomach. And when she told me, I was like, oh no, please no, this cannot be happening. Oh flip, she's a girl. Now that's just about the twistiest twist of events that I've ever seen. This boy rabbit had now changed genders. That changes things, since two girl rabbits aren't a good match. In fact, they're a terrible one. Pudding was alright, Cookie wasn't. So a while after we got Pudding, we got her neutered. And after that, we waited for a month so that she could recover. And then we tried to introduce them. So we had 2 separate cages for them, and we put them right next to each other, so that we could see how they behave when they're really close to each other. They actually sometimes sat next to each other, but other times they'd scrabble at each other's cages, trying to hurt the other rabbit. So around this time, we actually let them both out into the garden. And it was all going fine for about 3 seconds. When they saw each other and realised that they weren't separated by any sort of barrier, they full on went for each other. And the outcome really surprised me. They kind of did a little like doodle, and then they both went away from each other. And we checked them both to make sure that they were alright. And it turns out one of them wasn't. It was actually Cookie who turned out to be worse for wear. Her eyelid was like slashed by one of Pudding's claws, and we had to rush her to hospital. I mean the vet, they don't actually go to hospital. Anyway, that's the end of the rabbit story. It's not quite every little detail, but I'll save some of them for another video. Please hit the big red button. See ya!